What is up, mages? It is I, your wintry neighborhood Winterspelll. I'm here with something quick for you, just for fun. Because I don't have a massive amount of energy, but I'm like, you know what? I want to put out something today. I want to make something happen. Excuse me! Ha! Whew, that was a good one. Alright, so I'm here today with another build video. Not a massively long one, but something to give you guys some ideas. So you guys know Fallout 4, one of my biggest games, and I love finding new ways to play it. So I had the idea for this when I was going through a playthrough and I picked up some items. I'm like, you know what? I'd love to make a playthrough around this. So this is the Hunter playthrough. You can see we got Nate here. He's looking pretty stylish. So the Hunter playthrough is honestly part mechanics and part roleplay. So, first off, here's the roleplay part of this. You're a hunter. Now, what is a hunter? A hunter is someone who's able to track animals, you know, able to shoot them, able to take them down,
nice job with those
can use the different parts of the animal. So a hunter needs to be smart, a hunter needs to be good with a rifle, and a hunter needs to be able to stay calm and stay cool in situations. And also stand on tables. So that's the idea I had when building this character, putting it around rifles. So first off, let's take a look at the stats. Honestly, strength is not as important. You can put it up there. I did so that I could get some stuff later. Perception is one of the biggest things you need in this playthrough, because you need to have the Rifleman perk. You want to get that up to 5. Because rifles, non-automatic, are going to be your main weapon. Plus, perception affects your weapon accuracy in VATS. Now, you may notice that agility is not very high. You can raise this as you go through your playthrough if you wish. It's not necessary for the build, because VATS is not as necessary. But Perception has the rifleless perks you want, because you also want to get up to Sniper eventually. So you want to get that up to like 8. Now you can raise Agility if you want to do more things in VATS, but with the build I have in mind, you don't necessarily need VATS as much, because the main way you're going to be doing fighting is through scoped weapons, and through, you know, what am I doing? And, you know, by aiming like this. So let's go back to the perks. I find high intelligence good for this build because you want to level up quickly. So I raised my intelligence to 10 and then I got the bobblehead, so it's got a base of 11. Now, partially I did this for one weapon, because I wanted to get Nuclear Physicist so I could get 2 ranks of it and make my radiation weapons do double damage. Because one of the weapons I like to use in this playthrough is the Radium Rifle. Uses 45 rounds, which is a pretty strong round. It does pretty good ballistic damage on its own, but it also does radiation damage. Using the Nuclear Physicist perk, the first 2 perks of it, you can double it. So that means that this thing will be doing 100 radiation damage at the end of the day once you have those 2 perks. And as you're leveling up the Rifleman perk, it's going to do more for you there. So honestly, not bad. This is a very good weapon to have, especially if you can get yourself the 2-shot Radium Rifle. Now, another rifle that I like to use is the Lever Action Rifle, which you can get in Far Harbor. Now, I will say, this rifle can be difficult to use. You get 5 shots out of it, and then it does take a bit to load. Here, I'll give you guys I'll show you guys. Now, the loading time is a little... honestly, it's a little long. But if you build your character right, that's not going to be much of a problem. It's got decent stopping power. Pretty good sights. So it's a decent rifle to have, but the way I like to do it is have 2 rifles that are your main rifles. I use the rad rifle when I want to be faster, because it's got a good clip size, it loads pretty quickly, and it does some nice damage. However, let's say you're facing things like ghouls. Not as useful then, because they do have that radiation resistance. So, keeping the rad rifle for your human or even super mutant foes are going to be better. But, again, switching to a non-radiation rifle for things like ghouls and other rad-resistant enemies is honestly better. Like I said, it's a little slower. It never hurts to have a melee weapon as well, although that is not necessary for the build. But a good one to have that's pretty quick. You can grab this from Echo Lake Lumber in Far Harbor. This is the Harvester. It's a mini chainsaw. It does pretty quick damage, and it has the legendary effect for the possibility to stagger things. As you can see, it does pretty quick damage. And this is at its base level. I have not actually leveled up. That's a head. I actually haven't leveled up, leveled up the weapon perks yet, which you don't technically need to do, but it's still nice to have. So the idea of this build is to be also sturdy. So endurance is another great thing you want to have. I've got mine at 6 right now. 6 is pretty good. I would say at least get it to 7. So I still got 1 to level up. You want to start taking perks that reduce your damage and your radiation. Lead Belly is great because you're going to be encountering a lot of animals with this build. So being able to eat things without taking rad damage is always fantastic. What's this?
You're dead.
As you can see, that takes care of them pretty quickly. I'll take that 45 round, thanks. So, like I said, have 2 rifles for short range to mid range combat. And as always, I do suggest the Lucky Maxwell Carbine. This is your main scoped weapon. 1, because it raises your luck by 2, which we've encountered this rifle before in many playthroughs. It is my favorite long-range rifle in the game because, you know, luck affects your critical hits, and that's great for VATs. Plus, it's just such a powerful rifle. It's better than the other hunting rifles in the game. I absolutely appreciate it. Plus, this scope is great. Getting the recon scope on it is better, but you can get that later, and it does have the drum attachment, so you can get a 64 bullet clip. So that's a trusty rifle that will serve you well in any situation. Now let's talk about gear. So for this build, you can go armor. You absolutely can. And in that case, you would be taking the armor perk. However, what I suggest for the hunter build is instead go the ballistic weave route. So to do so, you will have to do the railroad quests up until you get a couple fetch quests from Pam and have Tinker Tom talk to you about ballistic fiber. I have not gotten to that point yet, but to be fair, we're just showing off the build itself. Go get the caps that are up here. Whee! Nice. Take that. Always take the bobby pin. Take the 44 rounds. So let's look at the gear we're holding. So what I'm wearing is the hunter's coat from Longfellow. There he is. Longfellow is the fellow you can pick up from Far Harbor. His perk gives you less damage from wild animals, so that's pretty good to have. So we're looking at his Hunter's Coat. The Hunter's Long Coat. Gives us 2 radiation, raises our perception by 1, base armor of 40, and quite honestly, for the roleplay aspect of this build, it looks really cool. It does look like a Hunter's Coat. So this is the coat that I want to be wearing for most of my playthrough. Plus, it can be upgraded with Ballistic Weave. So quite honestly, this is a coat for you. Now, of course, you can wear the Silver Shroud coat, but if you're going for roleplay, this is the coat I suggest. As always, have your backpack. I put on the ammo build to give myself 5 action points. And I've got the Riley Rangers patch to raise our luck by 1. So, another one of my favorite items, and this I think is essential for this playthrough, the Captain's Hat from Far Harbor. Now, the defensive stats are not what we're looking at, because it's only ballistic and energy of 2. So defense is not what we're looking at. You can't upgrade this with Ballistic Weave, which is really unfortunate. I wish we could, but you can't. However, what we're looking at is boosting intelligence by 2, which, as I said, a high intelligence for your Hunter's build is fairly important, because you want to level up fast so you can obtain your crafting and endurance perks, because you want to make sure you are sturdy and you want to make sure that you can get your weapons up high. And of course, the big boon that we're looking at, which is the reason we're wearing this hat, is increases wearer's movement speed by 10%. The hunter needs to be fast, and increasing your speed by 10% is significant. So we're wearing this hat so I can move around quickly. We'll switch to deterrent so I can show it off. Where to go?
All right, quit your hype. Come on, I'll show you.
We want to be able to move quickly while we're loading like this. As for eye gear, I suggest things like the wraparound goggles or patrolman's glasses so you can raise your perception. So this is a fun build. I enjoy it.
Hey, shoot him!
There we go. If you're going to use explosives, they're not really a big part of this build, but I suggest the Molotov cocktail if you want to use explosives, just because it's got the area of effect damage. Which is useful to have. Like I said, explosives are not a big part of this build. They're simply not. But having explosive damage is good if it's got the area of effect. And Molotov cocktails are much faster than grenades, so that's the only explosive I use in this type of build. Simply because it's fast, it's got area of effect, and it's pretty easy to make. Hey.
Guess we got no choice.
Oh, there's more?
You're dead.
There we go. The idea of the build is to one-shot things as much as possible. Personally, I like rifles. I like them much better over pistols. And you have to remember, this is a non-automatic playthrough, because you want to focus on non-automatic rifles to boost your damage as quickly as you can.
What the hell is that?
Oh shit, did they take over Thicket?
Someone there?
Well, there was somebody.
Here's shit.
I guess after I do the quest here, raiders take over. And it looks like I'm stuck now. I don't really feel like fighting all of them right now. I will come back. I did not know this. So the idea is, during combat with the hunter, it's set up so that you can move slowly, and you can take aim. As I said, you do want to be fast. Like, that's why we have the hat. But once you're in combat, being able to move around and being able to take aim and blast exactly where you need to, that is the essence of combat with rifles. So as I said, your biggest perks you're going to need are endurance perks and perception perks. Getting a couple points in luck is good, but not necessary. You got to be endurant. You got to have huge endurance and huge perception. You only need to go strength far enough to do armorer. Other than that, just find yourself a rifle that you enjoy and blast away.
Come out, let's get this over.
Oh, there you are. Now, what kind of healing items do you need? Well, since you're not wearing as heavy armor, at least for a good portion of your playthrough, before you get to the railroad, healing items are going to be important. As I said, you can use a lot of things like roasted meat and soups and foods because you're a hunter. You're most likely going to have access to a lot of animal products. But the biggest, most important item that I find Nuka-Colas are good once you have the mixers. But the best healing item that I like to have at least a few of on hand at any time, refreshing beverage. It mixes together things like bud packs, antiseptic, also takes a Radaway and a stim pack to make. Cures all of your addictions, heals 500 HP, and minuses 1,000 rads. So that's kind of a cure-all item right there. Anytime I get the ingredients for it, I go ahead and make it as fast as I can. Especially when you're trying to make Longfellow like you, you're going to need to drink a lot of alcohol. So having the refreshing beverage is really good.
Let's count the ammo and see what's left. Best to grab it now while you can.
And it's always good to have them as your companions so you can take the jacket. So that's really what the Hunter's build is. It's a fun build. It can take a bit to get started. Ew, blood bugs. Like I said, it can take a bit to get started, but once you're on your way, once you find a rifle you really like, it's a lot of fun. Now, early game rifle you're probably going to have is going to be the shotgun, because that's the easiest to find. I headed to Far Harbor as soon as I could to pick up the lever action rifle and the rad rifle. You can also take a combat rifle and just keep it as non-automatic. That's a really solid option. Assault rifle is really not as good. I'd avoid that. Or hell, you can even just use, you know, your hunting rifle. Like a regular hunting rifle will work too. It's whatever fits the idea that you have. Because this build, there's a lot of options to be versatile with it and to make it your own. This is just my personal build. This is just what I decided to do. You don't have to do exactly what I think. But at the end of the day, I really think the best way to do this build, have 2 rifles, each for different situations that you use short range, have 1 hunting rifle. I still say grabbing the harvester is a fantastic idea. I think it's a great backup to have. and I fully suggest it. And you can even use combat armor. I just think that you get better bonuses from the clothing armors. But that's just me.
We've got company.
You can also go with a high agility build for it if you want to, you know, get the quick hands, if you want to really focus more on VATs. But most of the Hunter's combat, I feel like, takes place outside of VATs because you do have the focuses. So, end of the day, that's my Hunter's build. I hope you guys like it. I'm still planning on coming out with new builds in the future because I do like finding out new ways to play Fallout 4. And honestly, I'm really enjoying this one. I think rifles are really cool weapons in Fallout 4. So until next time, this has been your wintry neighborhood Winterspell, reminding you guys to stay frosty, and I will see you in the next video.